What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode for our podcast on another. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. We very often think that engineers have the right answer for everything, but is that true at all? Let's figure it out. Our next guest is a very dedicated engineer who worked at the U.S. Navy and defending the nation, the U.S. nation. Ladies and gentlemen, with your next guest is David Winyard.
It's exciting to be part of the On and Off podcast.
That's awesome. No, yeah, that's actually awesome. All right, Professor David, please, can you tell us? Let's break the ice with a very simple statement, and you will tell us if it's true or false. Is engineering perfect at all?
Far from it. Engineering is a very human activity. Engineers make mistakes, and despite our best efforts, sometimes engineering systems and artifacts fail. Airplanes crash and bridges fall down, but we're continually trying to improve our processes and reach good outcomes.
That's good. And what you will say to those people or to those engineers that think that engineering is perfect and there's like any other major that is actually like that?
Well, it's good to have that positive image, but we have to be humble too. We have to understand that we are human beings, that we're fallen creatures, and our best efforts fall short of perfection. So we're continually trying to improve our processes and reach good outcomes, but there's always work to do.
That's awesome. That's a very smart question, actually. All right. What advice would you give to someone who dreams of being an engineer but fears they don't have the right skills?
Well, there are a great variety of people and organizations, and there is no such thing as the perfect engineer. Every engineer has skills and blind spots, and so I would not be discouraged because you have some weaknesses. I'm not a great mathematician, which is somewhat unusual for engineers, but I have had the social skills to work with other people and to produce systems and artifacts that have been successful. So don't be too discouraged. The key, I think, is really to find the right culture in which you can thrive. God has a place for you, and He will openly close doors to get you where you can succeed.
That's impressive how you say, like, I'm not a good mathematician, because, many people outside, like, around the world, they think, oh, I cannot be an engineer because I gotta be good at math, physics, science, and I'm not good at it, so I can just skip it or change other major. But it's crazy how you actually said it. I mean, it's like, it's good for us to know that information coming from you, because you're a very excellent engineering. And yeah, many people think like, oh, I gotta be good at math. So you can tell now it's not like necessary at all. As long as you have like leadership skills and also God in your side, you need to have God in your side. It will help you to be a smart engineering. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, that's right. When I was an undergraduate, engineering education was focused primarily on the technical side of things. But since then, there's been recognition that engineers need to be socially skilled too, and they need to be able to work with people that are not engineers to define requirements and work toward solutions that satisfy all of the stakeholders. It's a difficult social task as well as a technical task.
That's good. That's good. Now, we know you work at the U.S. Navy, which is actually impressive. Not all the people get that job as an engineer. But what has been the most challenging engineering project you faced, and how did you solve it?
Well, I was involved with some of the research and development that led to the Virginia-class submarines. Probably the most challenging work I did, though, was for Defense Logistics Agency. We had a 3-year project to develop a deployable depot and all of the capabilities to deploy logisticians into an expeditionary environment. And just working with all of the different stakeholders was very challenging. They had different definitions of success, sometimes conflicting definitions of success, and working through all of those initial disagreements and reaching a definition of success that everyone could agree with was challenging. In the end, the project was a success, and it's been fielded and used for both military and humanitarian purposes. So I'm very pleased with that work, even though it was very challenging, very frustrating at times. But in the end, it's been the most satisfying work I've ever done.
That's awesome. Now, well, we all can tell that engineering is tough for students because they are like in the process of learning engineering skills, math skills, science skills. But for you, has any project ever made you question your own abilities or limits?
All the time, really. Um, Engineers do work that has never been done before. If it's been done before, well, you don't need an engineer. So there's always pushing back the limits of what you know could be done. And sometimes you have to question, is this project going to succeed at all? And again, that's a very cultural thing. When I worked for the Navy, we were determined to work on very high risk, high payoff projects. So if you succeeded, say 1 time out of 4, you were doing extraordinarily well. Other organizations are not so tolerant of failures. They want you to succeed, say 9 times out of 10. So again, it's very cultural, specific type of work.
Okay, I see. Now, what are the weirdest engineering hack or trick you ever pull off to save a project?
Well, I'm not sure they have a precise definition of a hack, but I did have the opportunity when I was working for the Navy to go through some files, and I actually found a letter that defined how submarine steering and diving systems were designed in the 1950s. But I found that document in the 1980s, and a lot had changed from the 50s to the 80s. And so as a result of simply finding that letter, people were willing to change what the requirements were. And the effect has been saving many millions of dollars.
Well, that's awesome. That's crazy at the same time. All right, let's think about this. Engineering looks perfect in some point because it's like you go process through process, so in some point it leads you to perfection. It leads you to like less mistakes with a very like specific task, right? But what's the most epic mistake you ever made as an engineer, and what did you learn from it?
Well, I made the mistake of believing my management. At one point I was working for a Navy lab and trying to bring in a big project, and I was assured that if I succeeded and the money and the task came to us, that management would provide all of the resources necessary to get the work done. Well, in the end, that didn't happen. It led to what was, for me, one of the most difficult years of work in my career, because I had to do work without the resources, human resources necessary to get the work done. So I would suggest that anyone in a working environment, that they get things in writing. They make sure that there is agreement on goals and agreement on the resources to do a job before you begin the work.
Okay. Now, people who are actually listening to this audio, to this podcast, they might have like thoughts and ideas and perspectives about engineering. So what's the most common myth about engineering you wish people would stop believing?
Well, I think that engineers have a reputation in society as being very smart, very capable people, and they are. But they're also human beings, and there are problems with lots of technological things. So we need to continually be working together, engineers and their customers, to make sure that the products find the right match of capability and low cost and delivery time.
That's good. Now, if you could invent anything without limits of time, money, or technology, what would you create?
Well, at this point in my career, I'm not sure I would be wanting to build any particular system. I'm engaged in teaching young men and women how to be engineers. So that's the product I'm working on now. Other things have been interesting to me over the years, but I haven't had too many chances to work on them. I've always thought it'd be fun to make my own little commuter car with a Briggs & Stratton engine in it. But I've also been interested in nuclear systems, and the idea of building a nuclear reactor for space applications has been fascinating to me. Both of those are things I probably will never actually do, but I do have the privilege and pleasure of teaching new engineers, helping them to overcome some of the hurdles that I've experienced in my career.
That's crazy. Well, I'm an engineering major. I just want to share this experience with you. So when I was like 7 years old, I watched for the very first time Iron Man 2, like the Marvel movie, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I saw how he built, like how Tony Stark built the suit, and I was like, I want to do that in some point and help the people, not like a superhero, but help like people with that kind of robot and make their life easier, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, I'm still in the process of it. I still dreaming about it. I still dreaming to get an engineering major degree and stuff like that. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. I also pray God, it's like, God, please help me with this dream, help me with this major. I really want to do it, so we'll see what happens. What's the craziest engineering idea you ever heard that made you think that could actually work?
Well, I think some of the nuclear power ideas that have been floated around are that category. There was a lot of exploratory work on nuclear power in the 1950s, but a lot of that has kind of been put on the shelf in pursuit of uranium-based systems, both for military and commercial use. But now there are things like molten salt reactors and small packaged nuclear reactors that are in development. So I think the next 20 or 30 years is going to be a time of great innovation in nuclear power. Some of those old ideas that seemed really cool but had been pushed to the side are being tried out now. So we will see where that all leads.
Okay. If your life as an engineer was a movie, what would be the title?
Well, I've gotten used to thinking of myself as a recovering engineer, and what I mean by that is that the education and practice of engineering places a high reliance on the individual. If I'm an engineer, I'm going to make things work by my ingenuity, and sometimes that pushes religious faith off to the side. If I'm the person making things happen, do I have to rely upon God to be in this picture? We don't want to rely upon miracles to get things done, but at the same time we have to trust that God is present in our work, and if He is not in the work, we will not succeed. So as an older engineer, I'm more convinced than ever that Christ and our faith in Him is important in every aspect of our work.
That's good. And now, engineering has a direct impact on society. What personal project would you like to create that could change lives?
Well, there are a lot of possibilities out there. I think the society will be evolving to take into account the shift from fossil fuels to electric systems. So I envision over the next 20 to 100 years, the ways in which cities are built and the way people live will change dramatically. I don't think that people will be wanting to commute 1 hour each way to an office when they can do their work at home. And if most of the work is done in people's homes, then the cities will look very different from where they are now. So I think that innovation in how we build and arrange our lives around technological systems will be an exciting work environment to be engaged in.
That's crazy. That's good. Yeah. Well, something that I take about this podcast is that Professor David, he actually he wants take engineering not only as engineering, he also wants to take engineering with God in a way. And I think that's smarter because sometimes engineering or sometimes just people in general, they're very selfish. They want results for themselves, by themselves. They don't even care about community or the problems around. And it's actually impressive how someone who is like smart and an expert on engineering wants or tell us about God in those projects with engineering. I think that match will make like a great society. Professor David, is there anything you want to say till the end of this podcast?
Just that it's interesting to me that the word engine appears in the Bible in two places, in the King James Version. And in 2 Chronicles 26, it describes these cunning inventors of these engines, which were built to defend the city of Jerusalem. And that's all good, but the warning from that chapter is that the king was tempted to pride as a result of that. And I think that's very much the problem today. We are very proud of our science and technology, but there's a temptation there that we leave God to the side. We don't trust him in the way we should. So I would just counsel people that have a very high view of science and technology, but it does not push God to the side. You have to resist the temptation to pride.
That's awesome. Very smart answer. That's it for today. We will see you in the next episode of this podcast. I'll see you guys later.